Hi, everybody. It's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? Woo! You have no idea. You have no idea. Oh my God. We, first of all, so happy to be here. Beyond happy to be here. My first and foremost, well, we're here every Tuesday night. Let me do our stuff. We're here every Tuesday night from 9 to 10 Eastern. We go live, and then, of course, you can watch us in repeat on my page, on the What's the Story with Maria page, on whatever guest page, and please feel free to share it if you'd like to share it to your groups or whatever. I will never say no, unless it's some crazy group that, I won't even go there. But okay, so first thing I have to say is, we had a situation today, a last minute crazy, not total last minute. I got a text from our guy Leo, my guy Friday, Leo Rodriguez, who runs our show every week, that he had a medical emergency. And thank God he's okay. He's not great because he's in the middle of mending, but he had an allergic reaction to something. He has a peanut allergy, the poor guy, and it's severe, and he had a situation. So I knew that if Leo Rodriguez was missing our show, that it was only because he literally could not do it. So what did I do? I panicked for a little bit, and then I said, let me see if I can get Chris DePiero. Chris DePiero is my friend, has been my friend for 25 years. I always call him my brother from another mother, and I said this to Lori Towers today, if I had a brother, I would want it to be Chris, because he's a pain in the ass, funny as hell, and I adore him. Stop snoring. Stop snoring. He's snoring. I'm trying to say nice things about you. Wake up.
5 minutes.
Oh, we're already on.
Oh, HARVEY BROWNSTONE.
Yes, HARVEY BROWNSTONE is going to be on. Anyway, I wanted to thank Chris DePiero because he saved the day. He had something else scheduled. And I called. I tried to get a hold of Leo. It was going to voicemail. I kept texting. Finally, Leo said, I can't do it. Yes, get Chris. So I called Chris or texted him, and he said, don't worry, I'm in. I'll help you out. This is who Chris DePiero is. You're laughing, but that's who you are, okay, goofball? I love you. You're wonderful.
I love you too.
Oh, my God, Bill Goffey is snoring too now. You see? Anyway, he is. Oh, and Melissa Driscoll said, and he's so hot.
I'll put that up again.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And Lori Towers, who's an amazing, she's a friend of Lynn Portis's, by the way.
Oh, my God. Of Emusi.
Yes, of Emusi, EMUSI, Lynn Portis's musical text app. That is right. And that's how I met Lori. I met Lori through Lynn Portis. Genius.
Oh.
And Lori and her husband are disc jockeys. They're also radio personalities, amazing musical historians. So we thank Lori for being on. And she introduced me to Harvey. So now Harvey and I are friends, and you and Harvey are going to be friends, Chris.
Yes.
I just can't wait. But I did tell Harvey, I said, we got to get these people in because they're all buddies and they all talk to each other, and we have to acknowledge them. We have the most wonderful friends. So Dee from Dee's Enlightened Edits is here. Hey, it's not going to be normal YouTube page tonight. I don't see it on there. No, it's going to be Facebook for now, and then we will share it to our YouTube page. So that's the way it's going to go tonight, because Leo usually does that. I don't know how he does it, but that's how he does it. But he is under the weather, and he'll be bouncing back shortly. We want him to get better. If Leo ends up watching this, we miss you, Leo. We love you. And thank you, Chris. And Leo already told me to tell you that he loves you, and if you were straight, he would marry you. He told me to tell you that. If you were gay.
It's a shame, too, because I'm single, so I'm available.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Listen, I tell you this all the time. If you were gay, you would have so many boyfriends. But you're straight. You're straight. So just the way it goes. Anyway, the gay men are constantly throwing themselves at Chris.
Yes, I do. Thank you, dear.
All right, but he is girls. He is single, ready to mingle. And But you see, that's how I know you're getting older, because you just said, If this was a few years ago, you'd be like, "That's right."
It's just you make it seem like I'm ready to go out there and mingle. Come on, everybody, let's mingle.
No, I know we get because we're getting tired, right?
Yeah, jaded
As
and
you get older, you're more
that
like,
crap.
all right, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not mingling right this minute. Yeah,
But then you meet somebody who just shakes everything up every now and then, which is
that happens.
good and bad.
Yeah.
Someone else saying hello to me. Look at this. Everyone's saying hello to me. Hello, Tom. Thanks for saying hi.
You see. Listen, my favorite line from any movie ever is from Rocky 1, when Mickey Burgess Meredith says he's trying to tell Rocky, stop it with having Adrian around the gym. She's distracting him, and he says, Rocky, how many times I gotta tell you, women weaken legs. And that is my favorite line from any movie ever. So I will tell you that, Chris. I'm hearing that perhaps you have understood that.
Uh-huh.
That's from time to time. You've had weak legs from time to time. We all know it. So,
yes.
Yeah. So Danielle, that's the situation, and so we'll roll with it. Annette Zito says hello. Hi, Annette Zito. So Danielle is our friend. She's a spiritual medium. She's amazing. I can't say enough about Danielle. And if you want to get a hold of Danielle, it's D'sEnlightenedEdits.com. Go to her website. It's a lot of great stuff. So, you pick and choose. I personally had the quantum session and the spirit animal mini reading. And it's just, when I say life-changing, I mean that because it shifts the way you look at your life and the way you look at those that have crossed over and the way you look at everything. And it's like all of a sudden you see this way. It's like, I can't describe it. It's like having one of those virtual things on your head. And you're like, oh, that all makes sense now. Annette Zito, an amazing chef, incredible chef from Kitch Annette. You want something amazing, you want a great recipe, talk to Annette and watch Annette on Kitchenette, and that is on YouTube. So let me see. Lori Towers has joined us. Hi, Lori. Lori is on FMU with her gorgeous and very talented husband, John Pietaro. They are wonderful. Wednesdays and Fridays, I believe. And Billy Goffey is Bill Goffey, amazing piano player.
What can't this guy do?
I know. Well,
it's embarrassing.
There's a lot. Bill's a lot,
Sorry.
but I love him. Anyway, he's an amazing guitarist, and he takes phenomenal pictures. As a matter of fact, in my video, the What's the Story? I mean, the This Is My America video, which I co-wrote with Karen Cole. No, I co-wrote that with Will Hall, sorry. And Lynn Portis, genius. Avimusi did the arrangement. But Bill Goffey took all the pictures of the Statue of Liberty. That is kind of his thing.
And they're all spontaneous ones too. It's not like
he gets on that boat and just takes these beautiful pictures, but he times it. He times it for sunsets, like if it's a stormy day. He's really good at that. Mm-hmm. Melissa Driscoll, our friend, she is the booking manager at the Stonewall Inn and actually helped out tremendously when Harvey was there for his big night. Chris DePiero. Oh, yeah. This is going to the CIGI page.
I put it onto CG.
CG page.
Yes.
So that's a great, thanks, Danielle, for writing that. So what is CG page? That is Chris DePiero's page. And Chris is a filmmaker, a talk show host himself, an amazing actor. Chris, how do they find your show live from Jersey City?
Wow, that's awesome. It's live from Jersey.
Okay, sorry. Live from Jersey.
I love it. I love your show, What's the Deal with Maria? That's a great show.
What's the story?
Here's my website, SIGI, which stands for Self-Funded Independent Guerrilla-Style Improv Media. So we just go out there and we do it, kind of. And this is the Gavone's produce with the great Silvana Mastrolia and Artie Pasquale from the Sopranos is in it. And next to it, Silvana and myself and Live from Jersey, our podcast that we do usually on Monday nights. But this week we're going to do it tomorrow night.
I love it. What time tomorrow night can they find you?
You know what? We're more worried about ending at 10. We'll say about 8:30. Well, come on.
Okay. All right. Okay. So tomorrow night, go to that page, and you will see Chris and his lovely co-host Silvana, who's hysterical and lovely to look at as well.
Yes.
So let's. Who else do we have before we bring our gorgeous
Johnny Tamara?
Johnny Tamaro's here.
Yes, he's not saying hello.
No, but he is Mr. December in our calendar, in our Nothing But the Apron calendar. Although Leo would do this if Leo were here, and Leo will be here next week. So let me just show you who Mr.
Go ahead.
Mr. July is. Oh no, we're in August. Our friend Elliot Roth and his dog Bacon are Mr. and Little Mutt. Well, no, he's not a mutt. I think he's a Dachshund and a Yorkie.
It looks like a Toyota.
Dachshund.
I'm sorry.
So that is Elliot is now officially Leo season. He is a Leo, and as is our guest. I can't wait to talk about that. But who else do we have before? Rosa Puzo. Rose, to what do I owe this honor? She's joined us and she said, "Find me a girl." Rose. They're out there. I know, but I'm telling you, it's hard.
I think me and Rose have a lot in common.
I know you do. Looking for that hot girl. I'm telling you. Who have I missed? Everybody else, I think we've acknowledged. Okay, and I know you're all about the.
Oh yes, we have to talk to Miss Annette Zito.
You should talk to Annette. Yes. You should actually. It would be funny to give her something on your show because you know she's going to be.
I know.
Yeah, but she's pretty busy. But maybe we can get her.
I know we work so quickly, but I'll get her in the mix. You know, we got Alex Salvaggio in the mix.
Oh,
he's a Gavone, so
that's fantastic.
Is that great?
With Alex, that is fantastic. Amazing. So please, if you want to watch Gavone's Produce, how do they find that?
They can go to YouTube and do a search for Gavone's Produce, or you can go to cgmultimedia.com, and it's on the first page there. And we have about 15 episodes now of Gavone's Produce. How many episodes have you been in, Maria? Of Gavone's?
Have I been in?
Yes.
In your show?
Yes.
I don't think I've been in any.
Of course, you haven't, which is another reason why,
But I'm a big fan. But anything you want, I'll jump in there anytime. But I will tell you, I was in your movie, Miami or Bust.
Yes.
I played the crazy gambler on the phone.
Yes, coming up from the path.
Yes,
back in the day.
Remember that. We filmed that so quickly.
Iconic shot. I should have that ready to go. I'll look for it during the show.
Melanie Reese says, hi, staying cool here in Colorado, 69 degrees. That sounds beautiful. Okay. Well, Bill Goffey likes us to know that he was born in Jersey City. So thank you, Bill. But
me too. Christ Hospital, Bill?
No, he was born in Margaret Hogue Maternity.
Oh, boy. Holy cow. That's down and dirty, boy.
Yeah.
Kenny Holcomb.
Kenny Holcomb joined us. Amazing guy.
Yes.
You want some graphic designs? Kenny is your guy. Used to has designed many, many, many covers for Random House book covers. Okay.
You don't know which one? It's random?
It could be anything.
How many houses? What house?
A lot of houses.
I'm so sorry.
Stop it. Random House is a publishing company. Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I am beside myself now. As I told him earlier, he's in the green room. I told him earlier I wanted to wait until it was Leo season because he is a Leo. His birthday was a few days ago. So it is finally Leo season, and he is here. Let me tell you who Harvey is. Harvey was Canada's first openly gay judge, the first sitting judge in the world to write a national bestseller. The bestseller is Tug of War. And he is, and the first judge to host a TV talk show. And the first judge you see all these firsts happening here, to host an online talk show. Now retired from the courtroom, just from the courtroom, so we still get him, Harvey has conquered the world of celebrity interview program with his hit show. What am I reading that from? I'm reading that on the back of Harvey Brownstone's coffee blend. Harvey, look at that. There he is. Look at Harvey, you look just like your coffee. Oh my God. You know, when actors go in for like auditions, they always look at their headshots and they go, you don't really look like your headshot. Well, Harvey, you look just like your coffee. I love it.
Wow. I
Harvey,
never really thought I would ever have my face on a coffee bag, but when I was approached by Breakfast at Dominique's is the name of the company,
right?
and the coffee, she runs a company in Hollywood, and people order coffees that are signature blends based on big stars. And I said to her, you know, I'm not a big star. I'm a host of a talk show, but I'm not a star myself. And she said, it doesn't matter. We think it's going to be really popular. And they've already sold out the first batch of 500 bags. So I'm like shocked.
Because Chris was going to order one and it's already sold out. Chris, don't worry. As part of my thank you for stepping up tonight, I'm getting you a Harvey Brownstone blend. And
now, there will be more coffee at the end of the week, Chris. So there will be more.
Yeah, get me two, Maria. Would you please?
No, I will get you two.
All right, thank you.
Bold and balanced medium roast. Now, Harvey, did you get to choose that, or did they choose it for you?
No, I got to choose it. When they asked me if I would allow them to use my name and my likeness, I said, well, I want to know what the coffee is, because I didn't want a flavored coffee and I didn't want a really dark roast. I like a medium roast that's not flavored. And so they sent me a few samples, and this coffee, everybody seems to love it. It's a very high quality coffee. I think people will really like it.
Yeah, but you know what I like about it? It's really interesting. Like it is balanced. It's funny. I was trying not to use that word because I don't want to be, redundant, but it is balanced. There's a brightness to it, but it doesn't overwhelm you.
Well, there you go. The talk show blend.
Yes, I love it. It's not like, whoa, okay, all right. I like I don't like a coffee that's too strong, although I tend to lean towards a Latin coffee. I tend to do that, even as an Italian, but that's another story for another day. But okay, Harvey, if you are famous enough to have a coffee named after you, you've done something right in this world. Now, how did we first meet? We met through our mutual friend, Lori Towers.
God bless her.
God bless Lori is right, because she was one of the first people I texted this morning. And she was so great. She talked me right down off the ledge. So Lori introduced us. I had there she is. Oh, thanks, Chris. That's very sweet. And
you're welcome.
Yeah. So I met you at the Stonewall Inn, although I think we had communicated a little bit before, but it was during Pride Month. And this is, folks, this is what I got to hear. I got to hear the Harvey story. So Harvey, without, I want you to just feel free. I mean, I could give your resume out and all that, but I loved your story, Harvey. It's not at all a typical story. You did not lead a privileged life. You were not handed things. Your life was very difficult as a younger person. How does someone with that kind, and I'd like you to talk as much or as little about that as you like, but how do you go from being that kid that is bullied and picked on and does not have things handed to them to being on Canada's Supreme Court? So if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little bit of how that worked out.
Well, I had a very normal childhood until I turned 19, and then I told my parents I was gay. Now, this was 1976. It was a very different world, and they threw me out. I didn't anticipate that, but they reacted in a very hostile way. And so I found myself homeless and with no money and no family support. I was just about to go to university. So I got myself through university and law school by part-time jobs, going on welfare, dating rich men that would feed me, and the thing about parental rejection is that it's a great motivator. So I became quite driven to be somebody so that I could make my parents proud of me. And so I became a lawyer, and then that wasn't good enough. I thought I should achieve more. And when I was 38 years old, I got appointed a judge. And in Canada, you're not elected to the judiciary. You have to be appointed by the government for life. And so I got appointed to the Provincial Court of Ontario here in Canada. And then I realized there was a lot actually that needed doing, that the justice system was quite broken. So that's why I wrote my book, Tug of War, which tried to give the public a real inside look at what actually goes on in family court. And from that, I got a television show, Family Matters. The problem was that we were on for 2 seasons in prime time, but the problem was that the network wanted to see more Harvey and less Judge Brownstone. But I was a little nervous about showing too much of my own personality because I was still a sitting judge.
Explain to people what that means. So what exactly did that mean? Because you had a big personality, or because you were controversial? What did that mean? So the person that doesn't know you, what does more Harvey mean?
The TV show, I brought experts on TV that would not normally come on TV to explain things about the justice system to the public, because I felt that there's a lot of misinformation out there, especially about the family justice system, but also criminal. And right. But when you're a sitting judge, you can't express opinions about issues that you might have to adjudicate. You can't talk about existing cases. And the network, we were getting really good ratings, but, I had to be very careful not to compromise my impartiality, or I was going to lose my job. And I worked very hard to become a judge, and I wasn't getting any money for being on TV, and I really didn't want to jeopardize that. So after 2 seasons, we stopped. And then when I knew that I was going to retire, when I turned 65 last year, I decided to follow what I always wanted to do, which was to be a celebrity talk show host, to interview movie stars, TV stars, music stars. And so that's what happened. And the coffee just kind of came out of that.
All right. So, so you as a young person wanted to be a talk show host. And who were the people that you watched on TV that
I was addicted to Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas.
Yes.
I didn't think Johnny Carson was a very good interviewer, but I really loved Barbara Walters and James Lipton and Larry King and all of these, David Frost, Dick Cavett. I
love David Frost.
I really wanted to be one of those interviewers that at the end of an interview, you felt like you knew the guest, like you really knew them. And I used to sit there as a kid thinking, I could have done better. I could have asked better questions. I have to tell you, when Oprah interviewed Prince Harry and Meghan, all the way through that interview, I was saying, oh my God, why aren't you asking this? Why aren't you asking that? I could have done better.
Wow. You know what? I got to tell you, Harvey, I agree with you in that you are a better interviewer.
Oh,
and I'll tell you why. I did enjoy Mike Douglas a lot. I thought he was very sweet. He was he was like the guy, the teacher you always loved, your favorite history teacher or something like that. Merv Griffin really had like charisma, so he was cool. But I always loved Oprah when I was younger. Now she's still great at interviews, but I always feel like it's kind of about them. And there's the guest, right? What I love about your interviews so much is that it's almost as if you validate these people. These people have always been celebrities, and of course they get everything that goes with it, for better or for worse. But what you do as an interviewer that's so lovely and so respectful of them as a human is you validate them.
Well, thank you for saying that.
I don't think that they're used to that at all. And I think that's why they're always brought to a place of being emotional, with you. It's like time after time after time. Every interview, these people say the same thing. Wow, no one's ever asked me that. Or thank you for making me feel comfortable. Or, boy, I paid my therapist so much money over the years and you just asked me what no one's ever asked me. I love that. And one of my favorite interviews is the one with oh my God, I can't believe his name's escaping me, but it's the songwriter.
Tony Orlando?
No, wrote a lot of Carpenter songs. I can't believe it.
Paul Williams.
Yes. Oh my God, he's one of my favorites. I just literally, I can see his face right here. Your interview with him was so beautiful because you could see that this man, that was had been so seen by you for all of his gifts. And I mean, he's one of my favorite songwriters, but what you asked him was so important, you know, like, and I just loved it. I love your interviews. You're so kind to people. You're super smart. We know that. Obviously, you have to be smart to get where you've gotten, right? But you're kind.
I appreciate that so much. You have no idea how much it means to me because, as you know, from being a host yourself, it's very, very time consuming to do the research. And there are not a lot, you know, there's a million podcasts out there, but there are not a lot of interviewers who really research their subject matter and know as much about the guest's career as they do. And then you have to come up with questions that they've never been asked before. That's really how you build an audience. Otherwise, people are not going to watch. And so I have a bit of a courtroom style. Some people say I'm not really doing an interview at all. It's more like an examination in chief. But I so appreciate your very kind feedback, Maria, because I do try to pierce through the celebrity and speak to the person in their heart. And with Paul Williams, that really was a very special interview. I was quite touched by what he had to say. I've been very fortunate that people like Tony Orlando and Tony Tennille, Robert Wagner, Joan Van Ark. I've had so many celebrities tell me that they've never had an interview like that before. You know, Louis Gossett Jr. chose me to do his very last interview because he's not going to do anymore. I'm very honored, and I'm very grateful that I have an audience, that people actually want to watch these interviews with celebrities.
Absolutely. And we just want to remind everybody, it's Harvey Brownstone Interviews. It's on YouTube. And you're going to be addicted to it, but for the best reasons. You know, it's the kind of thing that, yes, it can wash over you, but you find yourself just kind of being in that world with Harvey and his guests. I also loved your interview with Louise Sorel, who
isn't she wonderful?
Oh, she is fantastic, and she's a big soap opera star. We had her on our show way after your show. I actually watched that interview, and I learned so much about Louise. Not so much what I could read on a resume, but I could see inside her softness, her kindness, her intellect, and you pulled that out. It was really beautiful, and she was so honest with you. And so after I watched your interview, I was like, you know what, this is going to be just fine, because I was really nervous about interviewing her. You know,
it's interesting you say that, because Maria, you have a very warm interviewing style. You make your guests feel like they've become your friends, and your audience is watching a friendship develop in real time. And I admire what you do. I don't feel that I have that ability because I am I'm still so tied to the way I was in the courtroom. But what I do try to do is somehow let them know that I really know about their career and I care about it, and that they've made a contribution that may be beyond what they think they did. And I think with Louise, you know, she's a woman. She's a senior citizen. She's a veteran actress. And I wondered whether she really had a concept of how beloved, how accomplished, how successful she really is. And that always surprises me. So I don't think you should ever be nervous when you interview a celebrity, because more often than not, I don't know if they're nervous, but they're often uneasy about what you're going to ask. And whether you're going to be kind, and whether you're going to make the interview show them in a positive light. And that's something you always do.
Of course. I mean, first of all, I think it's so mean when people do that to each other in life and anywhere on television, where people just try to expose each other. I don't know what that's about. That is a mean game that I'll never be part of that. But I did get a wonderful chance to, after your interview, then I talked to Louise on the phone. I always like to talk to my guests. If it's someone I've never met, talk to them before.
Really?
Yeah, for me, and just have a conversation,
Wow. See, I never do. That's so interesting, because I never do that, because I don't want to lose the spontaneity of the interview.
And I understand that. Now, what you were talking about with the being a judge and the way that you would interview someone. I got to tell you something. There is a certain place in a person. It's somewhere right under your chest that is like a pocket to me, like a little pocket of vulnerability, right? And there are very few people that can just tap that. And the next thing you know, you've opened up, or you're a puddle of tears, or you have surrendered, right? And sometimes it's a doctor that gets you at the right time and says, listen, if you don't stop doing this, I'm telling you because I care about you. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in tears, right? But I got to tell you, just the way you shared about being a judge and about being a young person that was helped by people, it was a judge that helped me turn my life around.
Really?
I don't remember his name. I don't remember his face. But I had been pulled over for drunk driving after wasting so many years. I was a great singer and all that stuff, but I wasted so many years of my life drinking. And it was a judge that saw pity on me and said, I'm going to take away your license for 45 days, and I mandate you to AA meetings. And my entire life changed because of the kindness of that judge. And I remember it. I remember what I was wearing. I remember what everything smelled like, but I don't remember his face. I just remember his kindness. And there is something very important about being that person that can look at someone and see something so good in them that perhaps the world does not. And I know you've been that kind of a judge. I
tried. I think what I brought to the judiciary that was unique, and I'm quite sure about this, I'm sure I was the only judge that was ever on welfare. I spent 5 years on welfare. I had to shoplift to get through many, many days. I know what it's like to be poor and to feel on the outside looking in. And I think that a lot of my colleagues on the bench had lived very privileged lives. Many went to private schools. I used to say to myself, some of these people wouldn't even know a poor person if they fell over them. But I was able to say to the people who appeared in front of me that I'd had rough times too, that I understood that people sometimes make mistakes, that people have hard times that they fall on. And I do believe that compassion is a very important part of being a judge. I'm glad to hear that a judge had such a positive impact on your life, because I think that we have to apply the law. But I really do believe that judges, at least in the criminal court and the family court where I was, we are problem solvers. We are there to use the law to help people make their lives better, whether it's a victim or a perpetrator or a single parent or a young offender. That was always the way I saw my job, is to try to make people's lives better and to be, of course, to be fair. And so I'm very proud of the work that I did as a judge. It's not a pleasant job. It's not a happy job, but I feel, I was very fortunate to be a judge at the time when same-sex marriage became legal in Canada, because I suddenly found myself at the center of this same-sex marriage revolution here in Canada, where Canada suddenly, especially Toronto, became the #1 destination for same-sex couples who wanted to get married.
Wow.
Long before it was legal in the United States, they were coming to Canada. And I officiated at over 2,000 weddings for American couples who came to Toronto to get married. And so I'm very lucky that I got to do that in addition to what I did in the courtroom.
Now, Harvey, can you talk a little bit about because it moved me to tears, that story of Edie Windsor and her wife and how they came over and you met them at the airport?
I was contacted by an activist in New York who was helping same-sex couples get to Canada to get married. So this gentleman by the name of Brendan Fay, he's very well known in New York, contacted me and said that Edie and Thea were a lesbian couple that had been together for 42 years. Thea had MS, and she had been given a fatal diagnosis. They figured she had about 6 months left to live, and her dying wish was to come to Toronto and get married. This woman was a quadriplegic in a wheelchair. And I was asked if I would go to the Toronto airport. They would fly from New York to Toronto with an entourage of medical people to help them.
Wow.
I would do the wedding at the airport in Toronto, and they would fly right back to New York because she was that sick. So I did it. There was a film crew with them. So I figured this is going to be the subject of a movie at some point, and it was. There's a movie, I think it's on Netflix. It's called Edie and Thea, A Very Long Engagement.
Wow.
It's an award-winning movie, and the movie talks about their relationship, and of course the wedding is in the movie. Well, Thea did die about a year later, and when she died, Edie was hit with a $320,000 tax bill because their marriage was not recognized in under the Defense of Marriage Act, which was a federal piece of legislation that said marriage is between a man and a woman. And so she got hit with this inheritance tax that she never would have been charged with had she been in a straight marriage. So Edie sued the government, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. And that is the case that overturned the Defense of Marriage Act. So Edie Windsor, I often say she was the Rosa Parks of the gay world, because she took on the government and she won. So I'm very proud that I got to officiate at that wedding.
Wow.
Edie and I remained very close friends right to the end. Yeah. And I'm just so honored that I had that role to play because, you know, I felt like a bit of a pioneer when they made me a judge. It was very well known I was gay. It raised a lot of eyebrows at the time. And I was glad that I could participate in somebody else being a pioneer in the United States, and that Canada had this small role to play because, you know, we wanted to be a leader in the world of human rights. Canada feels very strongly about that. So I'm glad we were able to do it in the area of same-sex marriage.
Well, I got to tell you, first of all, I've never met a Canadian I didn't like. That's the truth. I have, every time someone says they're Canadian, I'm like, I knew it. They're just really good people, good, solid people. And I grew up in Massachusetts, so a lot of my friends' parents were Canadians that had, you know, moved down to the United States. But, you know, you are world leaders in peace. You are. And the world, the civil world looks up to you. And I have always said that. It's like if Canada is doing it, it's the right thing to do. So I can't thank you enough. I can't thank Canada enough. But, you know, you talked about her being a pioneer, and you started, I mean, you were that gay judge. You were the first gay judge, right? On the Supreme Court?
I was the first openly gay judge, in Canada, right. Yeah. I think there were others, but I was the first openly one.
Well, that took a lot of courage. So thank you. And thank you for, and then Edie Windsor, I got to meet her when they were opening the Stonewall Memorial Park outside of Stonewall. She spoke, and I'll never forget it. You know, I was like, wow, this is I knew it was a big day then. I have pictures of it. Actually, I'll send them to you. I'll send them to you, the pictures. And, you know, I didn't know you then, but I knew how she was sending a light out to us and encouraging us. And so, you know, you started something. You started this ripple of amazing light, and it's traveling all over the world. You know, people are doing the right thing. Of course, people are still doing the not so right thing and being judgmental and mean and all that. But there are so many good people out there, and Harvey Brownstone, you are one of those amazing people. So I can't thank you enough.
Thank
People
you
are,
so much.
we have to take a minute because people are saying such nice things, and I want you to hear them. They do want to. So wow, Keith Torgan says, "Wow, Maria, thanks for telling the story and about the judge." And then people are saying are inspired, and they're saying they're crying. You know, everybody is really moved, and I just want to thank you, Harvey. And people are going to watch this. Yeah, bless them and thank you. So D from D's Enlightened Edit says, "Wow, bless you and thank you." So, I mean, I can't thank you enough. You know, my life is different because of people like you. Inadvertently, I didn't even know you, and my life was different, you know. So so many of my friends are married. Now, my friend, Tom Reardon, who's from San Francisco, he is a judge. And it's funny, I said to him, I saw him this weekend, he was in New York. I said, Tom, you have to watch the show. Guess who I have on? And he said to let you know that he was at the Lavender Law Conference in Chicago. And Tom, can you type in? There was something else you wanted me to tell Harvey, but it was something that he belongs to. He said, "Oh, he'll know this." So it was a conference of gay judges in Chicago.
I was there.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I spoke when same-sex marriage became legal in Canada. The American judges wanted to hear from us about how it happened and what the ramifications were. And the Lavender Law Conference is a conference of gay and lesbian LGBTQ lawyers and also judges.
Wow.
So I think I participated on a panel there, and that's very kind of him to remember. Thank you so much, Judge Reardon.
Yes, and he's just lovely. He's also an amazing singer. He actually, we got him up at Brandy's, and he sang. He's great. Thank you, Tom. The International Association of LGBT Judges, Harvey was there. Yes. Okay. So isn't that great? I just,
you know, I'm very grateful because I never, you know, when you're going through a rough time as a young person, if somebody could have told you then that everything's going to work out, don't worry, you're going to be a successful lawyer and you're going to be appointed a judge and you're going to have financial security, it would have made it a lot easier. But the problem when you go through a hard time is that you don't know what's going to happen, you know. So I look back at all the anxiety I had back then and all the anger I had. I was very angry that my parents kicked me out, and I was determined to make them love me and accept me and not be ashamed of me. And so it gave me a lot of ambition. But I wish I had known that things were going to work out and that I would be okay. Because, you know, I'll tell you something interesting. When I got a scholarship, I went to the dean of the university when my parents kicked me out, and I told him that I had no money and I didn't know what to do. And he arranged a scholarship for me on condition that I get straight A's every year. I could stay at the university as long as for how many degrees I wanted, but I had to get straight A's, and they would pay my tuition and my books.
Wow.
So I did, and I did. I worked really hard, and I did get straight A's, and I got my scholarship covered all the way through law school. But in my last year, in the last month, I was at the top of my class, and one of my professors said, "You know, Harvey, it's really a shame that you're such a good student because, you know, you're never going to get a job. You're openly gay. Nobody's going to hire you."
Wow.
And, you know, the legal profession, now remember, this was 1980. The legal profession is a very status quo profession. You're not going to get it. It's just a shame. And I was telling another professor what this guy had said to me. And she said to me, "I'll tell you something, Harvey. You have a theatrical personality. Use it."
I love that.
You know, I knew what she meant, that I'm a performer. And she said to me, "Harvey, you will get a job. You should litigate. Don't be one of those lawyers that's writing wills in the back room somewhere. Litigate. Get in front of a jury. You'll win. Use your theatrical personality." And so that stuck with me. And I decided I can do this. I can go in there and I can dazzle the judges and dazzle the juries And instead of cross-examining witnesses, I'm going to interview them. I'm going to do what Merv Griffin and Dick Cavett and David Frost do. And so whenever I did a trial, I never confronted the witnesses. I would interview them. You know, I'd start by saying, you know, that must have been really hard what you went through. And then bit by bit by bit, I would get them to admit whatever I needed them to admit. So I used my theatrical personality to create a niche for myself. And I think that's what we all have to do. We have to figure out what we're good at and then utilize those skills, whatever they are, to pursue the career goals that we have.
Yes.
And I'll tell you something really else that was very meaningful to me. After they made me a judge, I was invited back to that law school because they wanted to give me an honor and have me give a speech. And that same professor that told me I'd never get a job was still there.
Really?
And he apologized and he said, you know, I realize how wrong I was. And I'm so sorry that I tried to discourage you. And that, I tell you, if you ever want revenge in your life for anyone that's hurt you or betrayed you, the best revenge is to be successful.
Yes.
Best
Amen.
revenge.
Amen, Harvey. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And then when that happens, it's almost like all the animosity kind of like washes off of you. And it's crazy. I agree with you 100%. Now, I have a question for you. Like, I don't prepare questions at all because I just want to be in that. For me, it's easier.
Because you're a superstar.
Well, no, because I'm Italian and my brain is like, I'm one of those Italian ladies that wants to know. I want to know. I'm a little nosy. The little nosy neighbor, as my girlfriend calls me.
Oh, well, fire away. You can ask me anything.
I wanted to know, did you ever get the chance to reconnect with your parents, and did they ever accept you after that? Yes.
Yes. The story has a very happy ending. When I was about to graduate from law school, I wanted them to know that I made it.
Yeah.
I wanted them to see that I not only did I get myself through university and law school, but that I was at the top of my class.
Wow.
And so I invited them to the graduation and they came.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of about a 10-year process of them slowly coming around. And then when the government made me a judge, that really made a big difference. My parents were so proud that they could say that their son was a judge. And in fact, I used to laugh. I think my mother had her own website, mysonisajudge.com. And
I love it.
No, they turned out to be the most supportive and loving parents. They were very sorry. And that's another thing. I know many people of my generation whose parents were rejecting and hurtful, but I found that the forgiveness, the reconciliation that we had was very healing for me and them.
Right. Wow, that's beautiful. So you forgave them, Harvey.
They did the best they could. They didn't understand, and I really was able to accept and appreciate what they went through, the shame they felt. You know, I came out of the closet. My parents went in. You know?
Right.
So I didn't hold any bitterness or anger towards them. I'm grateful. And I really mean what I told you, that rejection is quite a motivator. I really do believe that the achievements that I had in my career, I had a very successful career as a lawyer. I never lost a trial. I was made a judge at 38 years old, which is unheard of in Canada. Yeah. It's because I was so driven to prove to them that I was worthy of their love. That was a great gift they gave me. I'm grateful because I don't think I would have been anywhere near as ambitious if they had just been the regular parents who supported me all along. So I'm happy with how things turned out.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful story. Okay, we are going to take a very short break because we have to do the food section of our show, which we always do on the show. And then, Harvey, when we come back, which is only take up like a few minutes, I want you to tell everybody about the song. The song that you inspired Harriet Shaw to write. Okay, so many people are saying beautiful things. And so we appreciate you. Lydia Stuckey is watching. Vincenzo D'Amato is watching. Barbara Prudis is watching. So many of our friends have been on here. And Danielle says, way to use your passion to help others. I agree. Okay, so I always, I have creative people on the show, but in order to stay creative, I mean, I can't just expect them to be creative, but I won't stay creative. So I always cook. That's my thing. So what did I make tonight? And I made, when I think of Canada, I think of delicious salmon and beautiful, gorgeous fish that comes from up there. So I made salmon with a beautiful salmon with, I have to read it because I always put so much stuff in it, marinated in garlic, sesame oil, ginger, scallions. I squeezed an orange in there, a little bit of white wine, and some hot honey. So Trader Joe's has this delicious hot honey. Marinated that, and then I seared it, pan seared it. There's a little cauliflower rice right there. This is a healthy meal. Lori Towers would be very proud of me for this meal because I have to go to a wedding in a couple of weeks and I have to get into my soup. So when that happens, I always have to go on a little bit of a low-carb diet. Now, Harvey, this salad, I tried to create a little bit of the colors of the Canadian flag here. So we have, what did I put? Red leaf lettuce, because our Canadian flag is red and white. Red leaf lettuce, red peppers, red radishes, and the red radishes have a little white in there and then gorgonzola cheese, which is in there. I'm going to put an aceto di Modena, which is a beautiful vinegar from Tuscany. And I think I'm going to put a Sicilian lemon olive oil on this. This is my Canadian inspired salad. And then for dessert, I'm going nice and easy so I can be as skinny as and felt as Harvey Brownstone. This is beautiful honeydew melon and just sliced thinly so I don't go crazy. Annette is the produce queen. I want that in my face right now. You know what? Annette, anytime you want, come over. I will cook for you. I love to cook. Okay, so that is our meal for tonight, inspired by our guest, Harvey Brownstone. Harvey, when you come to town, I would love to have you over for dinner.
I would love to come.
Yeah, and Lori, of course, Lori and John are invited. We have to do that. So now, when I met you, the night I met you, there was a beautiful singer there,
Gary Lynn Floyd.
Thank you. Oh, fell in love with him. Fell in love with his energy, his voice. He's just beautiful. Harriet Chalk, who we had on the show right before that, wrote the song, and Gary sings it. But you inspired the song. So tell us about that creative process.
Well, when Harriet came on my show, she's as you know, Maria, she's a very, very renowned songwriter. Yeah. One of her biggest hits was Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady, that was made a #1 hit, Grammy-nominated hit by Helen Reddy. Right. She's written many hits, and we had her on our show. And after we finished filming, she asked me a little bit about me. And she said, what was it? Was it difficult to get appointed to the judiciary as a gay man? So I told her very briefly the story that I've just told you about my parents kicking me out, and we finally coming to terms when I became a judge. And she wrote a song. Gorgeous. And it's called I Am Yours. And the lyrics of the song are inspired by my story. The message of the song is, it's really as if I'm saying this to my parents, that you should not reject me. I'm yours. I still have all the gifts that you gave me inside me. I have all the morality that you taught me. I'm still the same person you always thought I was. It's just that there's this part of me that you didn't know was there, but I'm still the same person. Don't reject me. I'm yours. I'm your son, and I love you, and I need your love. And she wrote this song with those amazing lyrics, and the song, it's becoming a hit all over the place. It's being sung by gay choirs. Oh. It's just one of those songs that you hear it, and I urge your listeners, your viewers, if they go on whatever music streaming platform they go to, or to iTunes, if you type in "I Am Yours," the vocalist is Gary Lynn Floyd.
Was a beautiful voice.
And
I
listen
also,
to that song.
Yeah.
It's a three-hanky song.
Yes, it really is. And the way he connects with it is so beautiful. And he does tell your story. I loved it. I got teary-eyed when I heard it. I just, my eyes filled up.
So can you believe that not only did they create a coffee blend for me, but I have a song.
I know, Harvey. Let's tell everybody about the coffee again. I just think this is the cutest damn thing ever. Harvey is on a coffee container. It's from Breakfast at Dominique's, HollywoodBlends.com. If you go and you can order Harvey Brownstone coffee, except it is sold out right now. They're going to have more on Friday. Yeah. So I'm going to get a couple for Chris DePiro for sure. So we want to definitely remind people about that. We remind people about the song by Gary Lynn Floyd, "I Am Yours." Harriet Schock wrote it and Gary sings it. The book is called Tug of War by Harvey Brownstone. And Family Matters was the show in Canada that you were the judge on, right?
Yeah, so, that show's still on YouTube, but you know, I really left that world behind. Now it's all about the celebrity interviews. I just love interviewing famous people and finding out what makes them tick. You know, I just want to get to know how they got where they got, what were the obstacles they overcame, and how do they feel about what they've achieved. You know, that's kind of my mission to pierce through the celebrity. You know, for example, we had Harry Hamlin on the show the other day. You know, Harry Hamlin, to me, he was always a great sex symbol. And, you know, you would think he would be so content with his career. And he said something that just really got me. He said, I was a character actor trapped in the body of a leading man.
Wow.
You know, and so, you know, we look at these people and think, oh my God, they've got everything. You know, I wish I could be like them. And here he was basically saying to me that he didn't get the roles he really wanted because he was so handsome and so sexy that he was typecast and pigeonholed. It's so interesting, you know, or somebody like Tony Orlando who broke down and cried because he felt he'd always been treated like a bubblegum singer and not really taken seriously as a musician. And here I was just talking to him about the music he'd created and what it meant to many people. And it brought him to tears. And I just love doing that.
Wow. That's really amazing. Now, I can't say enough about Harvey Brownstone interviews. You can find that on YouTube. There's so many. How many episodes do you have, Harvey?
Oh, we just filmed 310.
Wow. Wow. Well, you are 308 on our roster. So that's incredible. Go and check them out. They're longer than this show. You get a real intense interview. And you're going to love it. You know, you can just pick and choose your celebrities, start with ones that you know, and then you're going to be hooked. You'll see. You're going to be hooked. Lori Towers is so great. She typed in 310. Paul Maizano has joined us. Eudenia Mesa Dominguez, who's my girlfriend. She also, her dream is to go to law school. And she does a million other things, but that's always been the dream in the back of her. So I'm sure she's watching this and so inspired. So Harvey, I'm going to ask you now, the show is watched by people that are creative and people that are always striving to be better at whatever they're doing. So what advice would you give people that are maybe just to go on, to not give up, you know, on those hard days? What does Harvey Brownstone want to say to these people that are listening?
My message is to try to penetrate your own blueprint. I think if I look back at how I overcame my obstacles and achieved the goals that I set for myself, it was to look in the mirror and analyze who I really am in terms of my emotional makeup, my spiritual makeup, and my own blueprint as a human being, and honor that and allow that to lead you
Mm.
to your destiny, which you
Wow.
have to articulate. You have to articulate what you want your destiny to be, and then allow your soul to lead you to it. And that's been my recipe. It's not as tasty as your salmon,
Oh,
but
I love it.
it's worked for me. Honor your own blueprint.
That's incredible. I've never heard anyone say that. That is a total original. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful.
Thank you, Maria, for having me on your show. I love your show. I love what you do. I love who you are. And I love the healing energy that people like you and Lori Towers, Rosa Puzo is watching. She's joined our team recently. She's an incredibly valuable member of our team in booking guests. I love the positive energy that you draw.
Yes, well, thank you so much. And people are just writing things. Danielle says exactly. That's so much of what I share with my clients. Thank you, Judge. Danielle is a spiritual medium and healer, and just amazing. And it's a lot of that empowerment, empowering someone to do what their destiny is. So that was so beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh. We have sadly come to the end of our show, end of our hour, but you can find this in podcast. It'll probably go in podcast in a couple of days in Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And it will be on YouTube in a few days, along with the rest of our shows on What's the Story with Maria. And I have to once again thank Chris DiPiero. Chris, will you pop on, please?
Yes.
Chris DiPiero, our friend, my friend for 25 years, who really helped us out in the total jam. Because Leo, our regular guy, has taken ill. He'll be fine, but he's a little under the weather right now. Chris switched his plans around so he could help us. I also want to thank Chris because it was his idea to do a StreamYard with our show after COVID, during COVID, to help us out. So that I used to have guests in-house. And Chris has a show called Live from Jersey that usually runs either Mondays or Wednesdays. That's really, really, really funny. And so please go and check him out at SIGI. CG
Multimedia, SIGI. Looking forward to having Mr. Brownstone on live from Jersey soon.
Oh my God!
Yeah. I'll have my people call your people in.
I'm sending you my love, Chris.
Yes, thank you. I could use it. You seem to operate on a higher level of existence than a lot of people, Mr. Brownstone.
Well, that's a very kind thing to say. Thank you so much. I just want to spread warmth and love and kindness.
Yeah, and you do. Thank you, Harvey. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're here every Tuesday from 9 to 10, and we appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Great show. Bravo, Maria, and thank you, Chris, and thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, everybody that comes on every week. Annette, spread the good love. Listen, you have a choice every day. You can choose to be positive or negative. And if some days are harder, then say nothing. If you're in a bad mood, say nothing at all. But on the good days, spread some love because people could use it. Chris, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Harvey,
I love you.
Thank you so much. I love you guys, and I appreciate you. And Leo will be back next week. And thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. 3, 2.